So often in our lives, we get these situations that come up with other people, and they in relationships, and a lot of times it's family, right? And but not always. Sometimes it's another person that says something or does something, and we can get triggered by it, or a situation involving another person. And I had that happen to me recently. And so what happens, when we notice a triggered emotion, it brings up something. It might bring up sadness, it might bring up fear, anger. There's something that needs to be healed, but something that needs to be looked at. And then, so what do we do with that, right? There's a lot of things to do, but what can happen is the ego mind can get involved, and it can, when we don't understand why we're feeling something or why somebody did something we don't understand, the ego mind, that part of us that is our consciousness, is it our identity, but it's really a false self. It's a lower self, not our higher self. It can assume a reason why this person did something that maybe isn't correct, or it could assume something about ourselves, about why this thing happened that isn't correct. So it's often, looking to blame somebody else or blaming ourselves, or maybe sometimes we kind of alternate between. So that can lead us down into places that aren't, choices or actions to take that aren't for our highest good. We can lash out at somebody. We can really go sink into self-doubt and that sort of, heavy, being really hard on ourselves. And neither one of those things is really going to be helpful, right? Ultimately, developing the ability to understand what is happening within our bodies is going to help us. And how do we even do that, right? Taking time to quiet the mind, to bring in light, to really open the third eye. And I like working with angels and going in the Akashic records to help bring in that light, to help me go into that higher place of a bird's eye perspective to see what's really happening. So, because when we're in our lower selves, our human selves, we often have that ego mind that skews our perspective, and that isn't accurate, doesn't show us what's accurately going on. And then if we get attached to a story, we can fuel all kinds of stuff, right? And then we start to actually subconsciously attract situations in our lives that are kind of negative due to the beliefs or the stories that we're subconsciously carrying. I hope that makes sense. But so, by just connecting in with light, with some sort of loving guidance, like I said, angels, really the Akashic records is the way that I do it. We can start to see what's really going on here. What am I meant to be learning from this situation? What's really happening with this person? And then once we tap in, sometimes a word will come in, a feeling, image. Of course, that does come in the Akashic records a lot. By the way, I'm teaching an Akashic records class coming up soon. If you want to learn how to read your Akashic records, I'm happy to share more about that if you want to reach out to me. But when you develop that ability to discern, to connect, open your third eye, connect intuitively, then you kind of have this knowing of what to do, whether it's reach out to that person and share what you're feeling. That's not always recommended. Maybe that will help, maybe not. Or is it just to do some energetic healing with yourself, looking at the beliefs, or just becoming aware of a new belief? Or is it connecting with light, with that person's heart, to kind of clear things up? Really, it's all about learning, right? It's all about, we choose these situations at a higher level, pre-incarnation, to break patterns from past lives, to be self-actualized, to become our highest and best selves. I hope this is helpful for you in some way. It certainly is helpful for me, and I think the clients I work with. So many blessings. May it serve you in the highest possible way.